A very good evening. Thank you for staying with us here on TV47 tonight. This is TV47 Spotlight. My name is Mumbi Chege. Our sign language interpreter tonight is Faith Cheptile. Now we begin with Machakos Governor Dr. Alfred Mutua has officially launched his bid for presidency in the next general elections come 2022. Speaking at the inauguration, Mutua promised a bag full of job opportunities for the youth, adding that the nation needs change that will be possible with new leadership. Nanok Loren with the details.
In Mlolongo, Machakos County is where Governor Alfred Mutua announced his 2022 presidential bid, and with his catchphrase Mambo ni fresh na Mutua said it is now time for change and that the country needs a reboot with new governance.
I therefore declare that in the general elections of 2022, I, your son, your brother, one of you, Alfred Nganga Mutua, will vie to be the next president of the Republic of Kenya, so as to return Kenya to the railway tracks of where we were meant to be after independence. I am ready to press that reboot button. I am ready to give Kenya a new, fair, organized, caring, rich country of happy people.
Mutua added that in his leadership, youth employment, which is a struggle to many in the country, will be given an upper hand as close to 5 million job opportunities will be created for the youth.
I will create 5 million jobs in the first 3 years. I know how to. I will build roads and highways in every constituency and maintain new ones to create an environment for growth. Our education will produce young and dynamic citizens who will find jobs waiting for them. We will roll back poverty and restore dignity to all, regardless of where you are born or your social or political dispensation.
The fight against corruption and tribalism that has eaten up the country, he says, will be dealt with accordingly.
Under my watch, politicians will never again steal public land and sell the same land back to government. Fellow Kenyans, we cannot continue to have a cycle of election violence every 4 years. We cannot continue with politics of mobilizing against each other and against other tribes. This will come to an end. My politics are about mobilizing the economy and against poverty. Governor
Mutua becomes the second governor in Ukambani to declare his 2022 presidential bid after his Makueni counterpart Kivutha Kibwana. Kalonzo Musyoka, another leader from Ukambani, is also eyeing the presidential seat come 2022. Nanok Loren, TV47.
And ODM party leader Raila Odinga has assured Kenyans that his quest for pushing for the BBI report is to ensure sections of the 2010 constitution are in line with the needs of the country, saying that the National Assembly will too make recommendations before Kenyans make the final decision.
Sio tu mambo ya katiba peke yake, lakini mambo mengi zaidi. Kwa hivyo BBI sio tu constitutional amendments. BBI ni kuangalia mambo mengi zaidi. Hawa Waluhya wanaishi namna gani? Haya yote tunataka kuangalia katika hii BBI. Ni sababu ile ripoti ambayo tutapata itakuwa sio ripoti tu ya kusema tunaenda kwa mambo ya referendum. Hao wabunge wanatakikana vile vile wawe na nidhamu na wawe na heshima. Wewe umechaguliwa kama mbunge au seneta, unawakilisha watu. Kwa namna hiyo unabeba bendera kubwa ya kaunti ya Kakamega. Kwa namna hiyo unajivunia. Wewe sheria mshaweka pale. Wewe unasema tu wewe, mimi sitaki kunyima watoto pande hii, kulisha pande hii. Wewe umechaguliwa na watu wa Kakamega. Kila mbunge anatetea watu yake. Wasio.
Still on politics, as recent rifts in Jubilee threaten the party's unity, DP William RUTO has asked leaders to desist from politicking and concentrate on service delivery at the moment. Now, while attending a church service at ACK Church at the River, Machakos County, DP RUTO said leaders who were voted in by Kenyans should work towards development, urging them to also practice humility. DP RUTO's sentiments come amidst a bitter exchange of words between Environment CS Keriako Tobiko and Elgeyo Marakwet Senator Kipchumba Murkomen. Without mentioning any names, DP RUTO agonized that some leaders are no longer keen on fulfilling their respective duties, but are instead engaging themselves in early politics, reminding those who are elected or appointed under the Jubilee Party to prioritize on achieving the Big Four agendas.
Na mimi nawauliza sisi wote tuliopata nafasi hiyo ya kuongoza katika viwango mbalimbali, tuwe wapole, tuache vishindo vya kiburi na makali ya matusi, tupunguze ndio tuweze kufikia yale malengo Mheshimiwa Rais na serikali yetu ya Jubilee tuliweka kwa minajili ya kutekeleza maendeleo katika taifa letu la Kenya.
RUTO emphasizing that a united country will go a long way in elevating Kenya's economy that's currently crippled from the effects of COVID-19 pandemic.
Mambo mengi yamekwama. Tafadhali tuhakikishe ya kwamba priorities zetu ni vile tutafufua uchumi, tutahakikisha kwamba tunatekeleza miradi ya serikali ndio tuweze kuleta Wakenya wote katika mahali ambapo tunaweza kuzungumza kama ndugu na dada wa taifa moja.
Kiharu Member of Parliament Ndindi Nyoro weighing in on the matter, criticizing Environment CS Keriako Tobiko, saying it's unfortunate for a leader who once served as a Director of Public Prosecution to utter words meant to demean the DP and words that could potentially be divisive.
Na kuona ya kwamba unapewa kazi na rais na unapewa kazi na Deputy President kwa sababu wote wawili ndio walitekeleza hii cabinet. Na kazi yako unachukua microphone. Unatoa matamshi kama hiyo Tobiko walitoa. I think you are not headed in the right direction as a country. Na ningeuliza rais wetu kwa heshima, ni vizuri aangalie na aulize watu kama Tobiko ambaye alikuwa DPP. There is no single case unaweza niambia ya big fish ambaye alipeleka kotini successfully akiwa DPP. Awaapia ni vizuri sana, tuheshimu viongozi wote. Ukipewa kazi kama hiyo yake ya forestry, tafadhali panda miti. Kuna pahali kwingi sana hakuna miti.
It's clearly a divided house in Jubilee, and although the cracks are so vivid, the two camps have given their sordid relationship a blind eye. The DP now blowing hot and cold in regards to the 2022 presidential race and early politicking versus delivery of service. Many thanks for staying with us here on TV47 Spotlight tonight. Remember, you can also give us your feedback on Facebook, TV47 Kenya, as well as on Twitter at TV47KE. I'll be sampling some of your feedback at the end of the bulletin. Now, President Uhuru Kenyatta's second-term cabinet has become a politicking cabinet in the recent past as the country gears up towards the 2022 polls, with lines drawn and the cabinet sharply divided into loyalty camps. Conspicuous cabinet secretaries have been playing politics under the guise of inspecting national government projects. Mwangi Maina now reports.
Driving in fuel guzzlers, enjoying police escort, inspecting guard of honors, and the affluence that befits the office of a cabinet secretary. It is time for certain members of cabinet to shine. not really shining in the work they have been entrusted by the president, but to prove who can shine better in politics and cabinet works. This is a life of a few cabinet secretaries who have coalesced eyes front on 2022 with their future in cabinet bleak after Kenyatta's tenure. The bandwagon led by Interior CS Dr. Fred Matiang'i has recruited other CSs, among them ICT CS Joe Musheru, Education CS George Magoha, Devolution CS Eugene Wamalwa, Forestry and Environment CS Keriako Tobiko, and the latest entrant Mutahi Kagwe. The all-men caucus has veered off into the murky waters of politics and taking President Uhuru Kenyatta's critics head on. The recent being Friday, where CS Keriako Tobiko blasted Deputy President William Ruto, referring to him as just a mere clerk to the president, in a petty quarrel with the latter's diehard Elgeyo Marakwet Senator Kipchumba Murkomen.
There are still 2 years. 2 years to 2022. The office of the president is not vacant at all. Under the Constitution, there is only one office that is recognized, and that is the President of the Republic of Kenya. And that office is not vacant.
But it is not only Keriako Tobiko who has openly expressed his utter disgust in Deputy President William Ruto. His immediate boss, the Christian Super CS Dr. Fred Matiang'i, has not once publicly confessed that he works and reports to President Uhuru Kenyatta in his nationwide tours. Even in the much talked about cabinet recess, on the day he was supposed to go on recess, Matiang'i and CS Joe Musheru hit the ground running full throttle.
As you know, we are supposed to be on recess, and the media has been talking about us and recess. But this is a very important function, very important meeting. We are always very happy to meet with the youth.
Yes or no recess, it was time well spent this morning, and it's my pleasure to declare the
CSs are either inspecting national government projects or accessing counties' COVID-19 preparedness. Even when the curve is said to be flattening, they have been playing politics surreptitiously. At one time, in a coded yet well-passed message, the newest entrant into Uhuru's cabinet, Health CS Mutahi Kagwe, endorsed Interior CS Dr. Fred Matiang'i for a higher seat.
Ninyi watu wa Kisii, saa hii sio ya kubehave normally, kitaka kuona mbele. Mkiona macho ya kuona mbele, sasa ni lazima mshikane pamoja, ni lazima muwe kitu kimoja, ni lazima mnasema na msemo mmoja, ndio yote iwezekane.
A day ago, at a trip in Kajiado, Kagwe confessed that were it not for Matiang'i, who had called for the meeting, he wouldn't have set foot in Kajiado if the meeting was called by another person.
Ukisema huyu ni Simba, unaangalia Mutahi Kagwe unasema huyo sio Mutahi Kagwe, huyo ni Matiang'i. Na unaendelea unasema kila siku huyu ni Matiang'i. Wewe unafikiri siku moja Mutahi Kagwe atakuwa Matiang'i? Hata ukizungumza miaka 1000, mimi nitakuwa Matiang'i kweli? Nitakuwa Matiang'i kweli jamani?
My brother Matiang'i, the president did not make a mistake in appointing you to be the chair of this sub-cabinet committee of the full cabinet of NDICC. Kuna wale wanasema Matiang'i amechukua kazi ya mtu fulani. Matiang'i hajachukua kazi ya mtu fulani. Matiang'i amnafanya kazi jukumu lile amepewa na rais kulingana na nguvu zake kikatiba.
The bandwagon, led by the powerhouse, the enigmatic Matiang'i, has continued to ignore the president's calls on his members of cabinet to keep off politics. A visibly angry Uhuru Kenyatta in 2019 read the riot act to members of cabinet who went about politicking. But seems the big five might be having the blessings of the president. Were it not so, he would have already cracked the whip.
sisi si wanasiasa. Hizi ni watu wa serikali, tumepewa kazi na mheshimiwa rais kufanya na tutaifanya. Najua tunakula ile kiapo inasema tutafanya kazi bila shauku, uoga wala mapendeleo.
Wewe kama huko tayari kufanyia wananchi kazi na jukumu lako ni siasa, piga about turn. Vijana niko nao wengi ambao wako tayari kufanya kazi.
For Mwangi Kionjuri and Rashid Echesa, it became messy and noisy. They were shown the door from cabinet for playing politics. Maybe they served as a lesson to members of cabinet who are deputy president's allies who have decided to keep it low and let the big five run the show. It has proven to be a tall order for cabinet secretaries choosing between politics and work in a cabinet that Uhuru Kenyatta promised to be devoid of politicians. Each is as sweet and enjoyable as the other. Mwangi Maina, TV47, Nairobi.
Thank you for that report, Mwangi Maina. Many thanks for staying with us here on TV47 Spotlight. Let's take a short break. We'll be back with more in just a moment. Welcome back to TV47 Spotlight. Now, ODM party leader Raila Odinga has assured Kenyans that his quest for pushing for the BBI report is to ensure sections of the 2010 Constitution are in line with the needs of the country, saying that the National Assembly will too make recommendations before Kenyans make the final decision.
Speaking in Mabole village in Butere, when he visited Governor Wycliffe Oparanya's residence, ODM party leader Raila Odinga picked issues with Kakamega Senator Cleophas Malala over his position on revenue allocation bill.
Sasa ukiona vile juzi mimi nilisema ati hao wabunge unatakikana vile vile wawe na nidhamu na wawe na heshima. Wewe umechaguliwa kama mbunge au seneta, unawakilisha watu. Kwa namna hiyo unabeba bendera kubwa ya kaunti ya Kakamega. Kwa namna hiyo najivunia. Wewe sheria imewekwa pale. Wewe unasema tu wewe, mimi sitaki kunyima watoto pande hii, kulisha pande hii. Wewe umechaguliwa na watu wa Kakamega. Kila mbunge anatetea watu yake. Wasivyo?
Odinga expressed dissatisfaction with Malala and urged him to pay close attention to the people of Kakamega who elected him. However, speaking in Vihiga, Malala has reaffirmed his stand on the divisive revenue allocation formula.
Ukiona kama kuna senator watu wake wanapata pesa na nakataa, sio tia anapenda wale wengine zaidi. Kuna nuksi. Kuna swali. Ujiulize. Ujiulize. Hii kitu gani? Kuna swali. Sio na swali? Kuna swali. Wewe nataka jibu. Na hiyo jibu itatoka kwa wao, sio kwangu.
Na so mimi kama kiongozi nasema, on Tuesday tunarudi kwa bunge kumalizisha hiyo masuala ya revenue. Mimi nimesema msimamo wangu ni ule. Hata mkiua Cleophas Malala leo, bora nikufe kama nimeacha watoto wa Vihiga wanasoma, watoto wa Kakamega wanaenda kwa hospitali, mabarabara zinaundwa, then I am ready to die for that cause.
The politics of the BBI report also took center stage, with Odinga demystifying rumors going around that it is meant to push for an overhaul of the 2010 Constitution through a referendum.
Sio tu mambo ya katiba peke yake, lakini mambo mengi zaidi. Kwa hivyo BBI sio tu constitutional amendments. BBI ni kuangalia mambo mengi zaidi. Hawa Waluhya wanaishi namna gani? Haya yote tunataka kuangalia katika hii BBI. Ni sababu ile ripoti ambayo tutapata itakuwa sio ripoti tu ya kusema tunaenda kwa mambo ya referendum.
Ripoti ikitoka, sisi tutaenda uwanjani tupikanie mambo ya BBI na mambo mengine ambayo chama italenga.
Mlindi Kerry, TV47, Kakamega.
Now, more than 300 households at Ngambo area in Baringo County have been displaced by flash floods and water that continues to surge in Lake Baringo following heavy rains pounding other parts of the country. Now, the displaced families are now camping up at Kiwanja Ndege area located at Il Chamus ward, where well-wishers are finding trouble to reach them with humanitarian aid.
The waters of Lake Baringo continue surging and causing havoc in Baringo County. Schools have submerged. Many residents have incurred huge losses. Many, like Jane Lepoya, say her children are exposed to waterborne diseases and pneumonia due to the extreme weather conditions.
Hapa hatuna maji, hatuna vyoo, na hapa kuna baridi mingi. Watu wako na shida ya blanketi, ile vitu ya nyumba yote wako.
Their livelihoods dependent on fishing and charcoal burning, but now they rely on donations from well-wishers and are appealing to the government to evacuate them before the situation gets worse.
Na watoto anaumia, na kwa kila siku tunapeleka watoto hospitali. Na hospitali sio, hakuna hospitali hapa kama Msambagi, hospitali ni mali na ni pesa.
Ile mahali muhimu kama kambi ya wasungu nini malojo hakuna. Hapa yote ile kitu ya faida yote imeisha. Mashule.
The water is now contaminated and no toilets, no hospital, and food shortage remains a big challenge.
It is the entire sub-county yetu ya Baringo South imekuwa affected. Watu wa Kiserian, watu ya Mugutani, Nosukuro, watu ya Rugus, wote wamekuwa displaced.
Kerio Valley Development Authority Managing Director Samina Poros led a team of KVDA's Board of Directors to donate food stuff to the displaced families at Kiwanja Ndege, Salabani and Leshori villages.
Kama Kenya, tunahitaji uhusiano mzuri na kila mtu. Tunataka tujenge urafiki. Kwa hivyo hii chakula mingi hata sio sisi tumenunua. Katika yale mashamba ambaye KVD na support wananchi kwa mambo ya irrigation kama pande hii, wanasema toeni chakula tuwapelekee wananchi tukufu wa Kenya ile sehemu ambaye wanaumia kwa ajili ya mafuriko.
Some agricultural projects started by KVDA to support cohesion among communities in Baringo, West Pokot and Turkana have also been destroyed by the surging waters. Calvin Chitwa, TV47.
Now, the fresh waters of Kenya's Lake Baringo teem with birds, fish, hippopotamuses, and crocodiles can sustain tens of thousands of people living nearby, but none of them can survive in the alkaline lake Bogoria nearby. Now, heavy rainfall and ecological destruction means the two lakes may merge. It's an ecological disaster that has conservationists worried and locals bewildered.
This was once a posh safari camp. Like many other lodges and hotels that lay on the shores of Lake Baringo, it is now a completely fallen island surrounded by water. A former staff shows images of what the structures looked like before the waters started the unstoppable surge. The same scenario is replicated in the nearby Lake Bogoria. The fresh waters of Lake Baringo host birds, fish, hippopotamuses, and crocodiles and provides drinking water and irrigation for tens of thousands of people. But the alkaline waters of nearby Bogoria Lake are unfit for human consumption. The fear is that the two could mix if the surge does not stop. Now, heavy rainfall and ecological destruction means the two lakes may merge. The flooding is driving farmers from their land and residents from their homes.
All my life started from here. It is quite disgusting to see a place you call home for most of your time going. When it started, we thought it would come. But as usual, it's difficult to move to a new place because this is a wonderful and amazing place to be. The people around are amazing. The environment is amazing. Like guys from Nairobi could come, have their small Mombasa down here. But this is now gone. This has been a home for over 400 species of birds. Wildlife, it's amazing.
Lake Baringo, which irrigates land and provides drinking water, has expanded 60% to 270 square kilometers in the last 7 years, according to Jackson Komen, Senior Warden for Kenya Wildlife Service, working at Lake Baringo Conservation Area. Lake Bogoria has swollen by a quarter to 43 square kilometers. Conservationists say the rising waters are due to a combination of unusually heavy rains and the silting up of lakes. They attribute the disaster to deforestation causing erosion on nearby Tugen Hills and the soil washing into the shallow lakes. Local charity Rehabilitation of Arid Environments Trust, which works with communities to help reclaim degraded lands, is working with farmers to grow grass for fodder in parts that are not covered in water. The grass is also sold to farms and is an important source of income for the community.
We do have a solution because to the north of us there is a low point in the geographic structure which could easily have a canal cut through and release some of this excess water, which would in fact be a very good thing for the people downstream, as it were, because they have no water.
Nonetheless, farmers like Lechaki are worried because their grazing land has been destroyed. She has lost 9 acres of land, including her homestead.
When the rains started, we did not expect water to rise this much and get to our farms. I have lost my grass farm, which was my main source of income, and lost my homestead too. I now have to start all over at new grounds. For now, I live with my son close by, but even there, we think the water will get to us.
Mashamba yetu zingine imesama, hata hapa yadikwata unaona imesama. So saa hii imeleta changamoto kwa watu wote sana, kwa sababu they are not benefiting. Na nyasi ndio the main cash crop in this area because of inafunwa mara 3 kwa mwaka, na kulingana na mahindi, kwa sababu mahindi tunafuna mara 1 kwa mwaka.
The destruction has also seen the area lose a vital clinic that the locals depended on.
Apart from losing our offices and stores and so on, we've lost a clinic which used to serve the people, and it's now about 8 feet underwater, so it's no longer functional.
Nearly all Rift Valley lakes have been swelling in the last decade, pushing away communities that depended on them and shattering livelihoods. The narrative has been the same for all of them. Erosion is causing massive siltation leading to floods. Andrin Kilemi, TV47.
Thank you for that report, Andre. Now, an investor in Kikuyu town is counting losses worth millions of shillings after a fire gutted a factory today afternoon. Now, efforts by firefighters to rescue the factory that also doubles up as retail and wholesale shop for all plastic products used for plumbing did not yield. Now, the fire started at around 2 p.m. and quickly gutted the entire factory. Later, the whole building collapsed as firefighters from China Wuyi Construction Company and volunteers tried to stop the fire from spreading to nearby buildings. The cause of the fire is yet to be established. Quite an unfortunate incident there. Many thanks for staying with us here on TV47 Spotlight. Let's take another breather. We'll be back with more in just a moment. Welcome back. Now, human-wildlife conflict contributes to about 61% of the death of vultures in the country. Now, herders who lose livestock to lions, hyenas and other carnivores poison the carcasses to retaliate, but the vultures fall prey as collateral damage when they eat the same carcasses. Willie Dennis Njiro reports.
Vultures are nature's garbage disposers as they devour carcasses of animals, thus keeping the environment clean and therefore limiting the spread of deadly diseases. The birds always play a significant role in tracking down acts of killed wild animals for game trophies, where more often than not, the poachers leave the poisoned carcass. In the advent of consumption, the birds die in large numbers.
We have about these 8 species. Each one of them is being categorized differently, either being endangered, being critically endangered, or also near threatened. And one of these species, which we refer to as pulp nut, is of concern.
Every first Saturday of the 9th month of each year is a special day. A day set aside to create awareness about the role and importance of vultures in the ecosystem and to humankind, and the myriad of the threats facing the species, marked at the Hell's Gate National Park.
I'm informed that they go to Masai Mara so that they look for food. Thereafter, in the evening, they will come back. And there are a lot of nests at our background there. This is where most of these vultures live, and most importantly, it is a very important breeding area.
There are 15 species of vultures world over, where half of that number is found locally here within the country, and the greatest challenges befalling these birds of prey is its adaptation and poachers.
They want to poison, that is their first intention. And indirectly, because these vultures come around, you will find that they also get that poison, and during that process they also die. So that's why we are talking about collateral damage. As you are aware, vultures are critical to the ecosystem as they devour carcasses of animals, thus keeping the environment clean and therefore limiting the spread of deadly diseases to other wildlife or even humans. However, despite their importance, their numbers have been dwindling, and it is really worrying.
Reporting for TV47 from the Hell's Gate National Park in Naivasha, Nakuru County, I'm Willie Dennis Njiru.
Now, 15 seafarers are stranded in Malindi town in Kilifi town after their Korean employer, the vessel captain and engineer, abandoned them. Now, the seafarers claimed that their employer, Yang Xian, together with the 2 others, disappeared on Monday, leaving them without food and 3 months' salary arrears. Lynette Gidua reports.
Just like the vessel stands solo in the expansive waters of the Indian Ocean, a team of 15 Kenyan seafarers are stranded, hungry and penniless. They are at home, but they feel far away. The vessel docked at the Malindi jetty on Monday and their employer took off. They say they have not been paid for the 3 months that they have been at sea.
Hapa tulipo tuko distress kidogo ya kwamba kuna tajiri wetu mwenye alituajiri alikimbia kutoka siku ya Jumatatu. Hatujampata kwa simu hadi wa leo, na tunamdai miezi 3, hatuna chakula na tuna family. Sasa hakuna vile tunaweza saidika, na tunaomba serikali kama wanaweza pata hii habari watusaidie ili tupate haki yetu.
The seafarers work for one Yang Xian, a South Korean captain and engineer of the ship. Xian disappeared in the company of 2 other individuals.
Ukweli ni kwamba hawa wa China wanatudhulumu sana. Wacha kwamba hawa bado mpaka sasa hawajalipwa. Sisi wavuvi, takribani sahihi kuna wavuvi 12 wamekata neti zao na kulipa hawalipi. Kwa hivyo naiomba serikali hawa watu wasipewe license ya kuvua mpaka wakubali yale matakwa ya wananchi ya wavuvi wadogo.
Besides the complaints of the stranded seafarers, fishermen in Kilifi are also distraught. They say Chinese and Korean Vessel owners are destroying their fishing gear, subjecting them to losses and unreliable livelihoods.
Sisi tuna family ambao watoto wanatakana waende skuli. Maana skuli zilifungwa kwa sababu ya korona. Na hivi saa hii Januari inabidi kwamba sisi itakuwa skuli zimefunguliwa. Na tutakuwa hatuna mahitaji mengine ambayo tunaweza kupata isipokuwa ni mishahara yetu, tukipata ndio tuweze kusaidia family iweze kwenda skuli.
The seafarers have since recorded a statement at Malindi police station. Lynette Githua, TV47.
Thank you, Lynette, for that report. Now, chaos erupted at one of the cane farmers' farm in Alomodoi village, Busia County. Now, this after two millers claimed of ownership of the sugarcane. According to the farmer, URCHINS, she had hired private cane cutters only for the two companies to come for the collection after harvest. Wanji Sostin reports.
Sugarcane farmer Yerusa Okiru, who took over cane farming from his husband Philip Okiru, says she has been farming privately for the last 2 years. However, she admits 2 years ago her husband had a contract with the West Kenya company.
Mzee wangu alikuwa analima miwa na West Kenya. Sasa mzee wangu West Kenya ilikuja kama disappoint. Alikuwa amechukua mbolea na West Kenya some 2 years ago. Sasa mzee akaambia mimi sitaki deni na nyinyi, akawakatia sehemu. Akasema hii sehemu mchukue ya deni ambao mnanidai. Wakachukua miwa, hata statement hawakuwahi kuleta na wakapotea tangu hiyo siku. Sasa tukaanza kulima miwa yetu kama private.
However, farmers have stated that they will sell their produce to a miller of their choice.
Private cutters walikata miwa jana, nikawalipa. Leo wako wanakata. So leo West Kenya imeamuka from nowhere, inakuja na tinga mara moja tunataka kubeba miwa yangu.
Mniwachie huru miwa yangu iende Busia Sugar.
They have declared war against West Kenya millers for collecting the cane. On the other hand, Oletipo is blaming Bosibabu company of employing cane poaching techniques.
Kama ni hivyo, hata magari yao, kama vile sahi yetu haiendi, hata magari yao hapana toka hapa. Kama ni hivyo itakosi simple war. Cold war.
Hiyo tractor ambayo imejazwa itashukishwa hiyo miwa because the cane is invested by West Kenya Sugar. We are not allowing even a single trailer to leave this field with cane. We have asked them to leave, they have not left. They have decided to load that trailer and we will ask them to offload that trailer because no cane is leaving this farm.
Presenting the contract papers with the farmers, West Kenya Field Officer Titus Ongido urged the Kenya Sugar Board to intervene and solve the emerging problems.
The Sugar Board needs to come in and lay down the rules because we will not agree that we are two factories in Busia. One of them is developing cane, another one intends to harvest the cane without developing. The two factories can run. There's enough space in Busia, there's enough land, the soil is fertile, they can grow their canes and they can get canes to run their factory without relying on poaching.
As public sugar millers continue to fight off leasing plans that have caused a strain between the leaders and the Ministry of Agriculture, private millers are now fighting over ownership of the cane, leaving poor farmers bewildered. Wanji Sostin, TV47.
Now, various youth groups in different parts in the city today came forward to help street urchins in Nairobi. The Nairobi Blazers group, Tazama Nia and Nuru Yetu, came together to help the homeless children as they commemorated 1 year of community service.
The street children benefited from the advice of the peers, clothing, food and masks. According to the chairman of the Nairobi Blazers group, the group has been visiting the street children to sensitize them against drug and substance abuse as they guide them in the right direction and to help them, especially during this COVID-19 period.
Tulianza last year September, so leo tunakam kutimiza mwaka since tuanze. Sisi tunakujanga hapa mtaani at least kusaidia wase. Juu mostly kuna wase wenye unapata wako hapo kwa mtaa, si kupenda kwao, unapata ni kutelekezwa ama kufukuzwa pale nyumbani, wanajipata kwa mtaa. So tulikam na idea ya kuwasanya pamoja na kusikiza kila mtu kiini chake mbona kwa street. So tukipata msee mwenye ako willing kurudi nyumbani, tunamrudisha. At least tunataka kuchange msee mmoja kwa society, akae naishi maisha yenye tunaishi. Ndio maana tuko hapa kwa street. Tukikuja hapa tunawaletea chakula, tunawaletea manguo na pia tunawapea guidance and counseling kama street kids. At least tunaongelea about kutumia hizo drugs.
Our work is to reach out to the most vulnerable spiritually and bringing them from the worldly view to the spiritual view. So we came here, we are linked up with Nairobi Blazers, and we are here to reach out to these street kids that we want to bring the spiritual world to them, to bring them hope and to make them feel important in this society.
For Roger Zugoli, going back home is not an option, citing irreconcilable differences with his mother. But he is ready to go back to school. His older peers too say they are ready for change for the better and are ready to work if opportunities are available.
Mimi nataka wanisaidie, wanipeleke shule nisaidike, lakini sitaenda kwetu. Mama yangu hatusikizana na mama yangu.
Mimi nabambika kuona venye wanakuja wanatusaidia hapa, na pia ningependa kusema huku saa hizi ni masaa ya baridi, kumewaka kuwaka, baridi inachoma huku, na kama mtu anaweza kusaidia kuja tusaidia hapa town tupate mahali pa kudozi pa kukaa, hata kama ni kazi mtu anapata anafurahia.
For TV47, my name is Njoki Wainoe.
Now let's get to the sports news. The COVID-19 pandemic rendered sports untenable in the country. Several sports persons now delving into menial jobs to keep going. Our sports reporter Julius Juma brings you a story dubbed When the Whistle Blows Not.
Mid-March 2020, the first COVID-19 case was confirmed in Kenya, the country thrown into a state of confusion, anxiety and uncertainty.
I want to inform you that the Ministry of Health has confirmed the first coronavirus case in Kenya.
A few days later, sporting activities were halted, not sure just when the ban would be lifted.
Avoid congregating, including in places of worship. B, minimize attendance to social gatherings, including weddings and funerals.
For sports personalities, it spelled an unprecedented period of doom and gloom. God for us all and everyone for himself. Days, weeks and months of idle and lonely pitches. Several clubs trimming player salaries like Kakamega Homeboys, while some like Ushuru throwing them out in the cold.
Haswa walikuwa na mazoea ya kwamba kulikuwa na mshahara unakuja kwa kulingana na vile wamesikizana na contract, na saa hizi wanapata mshahara nusu. So nataka niwashukuru wachezaji wangu, haswa wale ambao wamechukua hilo jukumu la kuweza kujisatiti, kuweza kujitafutia angalau kitu kidogo ambacho wanaweza kuongezea kwa meza lao.
But life has to go on regardless of the situation. The Homeboys trident of Benson Muchonyi, Ali Bai and Solomon Mwenye literally taking the situation in their own hands to beat the COVID-19 financial scourge. Mchonyi is now a worker at a construction site in Kakamega. Mwenye selling second-hand clothes as Bai delves into carpentry.
Sisi kama wachezaji tumekuwa na challenges hapa na pale. Tuko na familia ambao wanatutegemea. Kisa na maana ikanifanya at least nikatafuta kitu ya kunishikilia. Tukingoja tuone hali itakuwa vipi. Pia unaweza ona kuna mjengo unaendelea hapo pia. Yanisaidia pia at least nafanya yako moja mbili, fika jioni napata kitu.
So mimi kama mchezaji mimi hujihusisha hapa kwa hii workshop. Hapa ndo most of the time mimi hushinda. So napata kitu kidogo kupitia hapa hivi.
Toka ni sign Homeboys, nilikuwa nimejifungulia mtumba yangu na kuja nachagua mtumba na kutoka nachagua mtumba na kutoka naenda nauza nje na nauzaga hapa pia.
Another player that has hit headlines is Harambee Stars defender Wesley Onguso, who runs the border business in the Kawangware area of Nairobi. The 25-year-old left-back receiving backlash and applause in equal measure, but undeterred he is until his family is fended for.
Kwenye hii shughuli ya boda iko na do kidogo, leo unaweza pata, unaona. So at least kwa siku utakuwa sure uko na chuani. Kuna ile kitu itaingia kwa akaunti yako ama kwa mfuko wako kila baada ya siku nyingine.
The Nairobi City Stars defender, now a darling of the locals at his native area of Muslim Kangware.
Tunafurahia sana kufanya kazi na Unguso, Wesley Unguso, sababu pia kuna mahali penye ametupiga support, unaona? Kuna at least anachukulia msenduthi mahali, kivyake, kibinafsi, na tusaidia. Ameajiri vijana kadhaa hapa kazi. So yeye ndo tuna appreciate na yeye amfanya kazi poa. Unaona?
Former Harambee Stars striker Boniface Ambani, who hanged his boots in 2011, leads the retired class in beating the retirement jigsaw. Ambani runs a sports merchandise in Nairobi's central business district and has some unrivaled advice for the active sportsmen.
Advice tu ni kwamba ile kidogo anapata, ile kidogo anaweza pata. Kama pia lazima pia wafikirie katika maisha yao usoni nini watafanya. Kwa hivyo ile kidogo wao wanapata, kwangu naweza waomba angalau wawekeze kidogo. Hapo nadhani maisha ya pale usoni haitawasumbua sana. Yeah.
The 43-year-old calling on sportsmen to prove their ears against societal brouhaha and make a living, however demeaning to social corps it may be.
Kila mtu Mwenyezi Mungu amemwandikia riziki yake. Kwa hivyo kwangu naweza sema Unguso yeye aendelee na ile kazi anafanya. Asisikize binadamu, asifikirie nini. Kwa sababu yale mapato kidogo aliweza kupata akicheza, akafikiria akajua anaweza fanya nini. Wacha ni invest kwa nini? Kwa bodaboda. Kwa sababu aliona hapo ndio maisha yake pia inaweza kuwa.
Ningehimiza wachezaji wenzangu wasikae tu, waendelee kutafuta mahali pa kufanya mazoezi na mahali pa kuingiza kitu kidogo. Because apart from football, maisha lazima iendelee.
Nitawasihi wachezaji wengine pia kokote kule waliko waweze kujikakamua, kuweza kujifanyia biashara kidogo kidogo ili waweze kutafuta riski. Sababu mwisho wa mpira pia kuna shughuli zingine ambazo unaweza fanya ili uweze kujipatia pato katika maisha yako. So tusitegemee kwamba mpira ndio mwisho wetu. Mpira ni profession ambayo inakuja inakwisha, na hivi biashara vingine vinaweza kuchukua kwa muda mrefu.
Other players who have kept life going despite the prevailing situation are former Sofapaka's keeper Stephen Waroro, who is now a plumber in Thika Town, Gor Mahia defender Wellington Ochieng, who has delved into poultry farming in his native of Kajolo, Kisumu County. Necessity is the mother of all inventions. And with the sporting industry grounded due to the COVID-19 pandemic, these sports personalities have found a way to keep themselves going. And as they say, you are as full as your last meal. Reporting for TV47 Sports, I'm Julius Juma.
Thank you so much for that report, Julius Juma. Thank you so much for being with us tonight on TV47 Spotlight. That's all we had tonight. And thank you so much for all your feedback. Anderson Mugendi Gatimbo, thank you for your feedback. Mukongolo Shadrach, thank you so much for all your feedback tonight. And I'll be seeing you again tomorrow on Newsfeed. Enjoy the rest of your evening. My name is Mombi Chege. Our sign language interpreter tonight has been Faith Sheptile. Have a good night.
We value your feedback, welcome any comments, queries or complaints regarding our programming content. You can get in touch with us on 0768095491 or send us a message on 22047. You can also send us a letter on Post Office Box